Well, I think all in all, Monday to Thursday now, our guys have practiced really well. They've been intentional with their approach. I thought Tuesday arguably was our best practice of the year. Not that Wednesday or Thursday were bad, but Tuesday was at a high level of intensity, physicality, and intent. I think our players have done a really good job of staying focused on the task at hand and quieting the noise, and that's going to be critical here over the next 48 hours because, it's human nature to turn on your phone, turn on the TV, and hear about the game and hear about everybody's opinion of what they think is going to happen in the game. When in reality, it's not about what other people think; it's about what we do. And so, we've got to get into the frame of mind that we can't really talk about it; we have to be about it. And I think that our players are in that state of mind, and it's going to be critical that we stay in that phase here for the next 48 hours up until kickoff.
Go to some questions. Chip, go ahead.
Steve, Baron Sorrell's not on the depth chart this week. Can you give us an update on him?
He's fine. He's good to go.
Kirk, you're up.
Yeah, Steve, I was curious in your breakdown of Oklahoma. Do you go back and watch a lot of Texas-Oklahoma games or several years of Oklahoma film to get up to speed?
We do go back. I think a lot of what's important when you go into a game like this is try to find the temperament of the play callers. You try to dig into kind of the trends. And they've got two really good ones, obviously, with Lincoln and Alex. They do a nice job. So as much of it might have just been Oklahoma, Texas film, it's looking at a lot of their film, whether it was this year, last year, or previous years, or spots maybe they've been before, to make sure that we're not leaving any stone unturned and that we're giving our players the best chance to have success.
Brian Davis, go ahead.
Steve, I wanted to ask you about the last 3 weeks as a whole. Since you guys left Fayetteville, do you feel like you have continuously gotten incrementally better day after day? And do you feel like there's traction and momentum, and y'all are now going up a hill in the right direction?
I'd say, first of all, I appreciate you guys continually asking me about the Arkansas game because it keeps the bad taste in my mouth and the bad taste in our players' mouth. So I think, thank you. That's a positive. I appreciate that. I do. I really believe that our players have been intentional with their preparation and their focus. And when that has happened, it's allowed us as coaches to emphasize areas where we're looking for improvement. And I've said all along, I think, as coaches, we get what we emphasize. And if we're emphasizing the right things, then we should see improvement in whatever specific areas that we're emphasizing. And I think for the last 3 weeks, even after victories, we've continually found areas where we need to improve. We've tried to apply that in practice, and then ultimately the performance has followed. And this week has been no different. We had plenty to work on last week coming out of TCU, separate from even the game plan for Oklahoma. So the reality is, yes, I have seen incremental kind of progress in the program, and that's a great sign. That's a great sign that our players are trusting and believing in their coaches and why we're trying to get them better and why this one particular thing is so important. It may not show up for another 2 or 3 weeks, but because we're going to get it right now, when it shows itself again, man, you're on point and ready to go do it.
Cole Thompson, go ahead.
Steve, kind of when looking at the film, it may not show at the exact same level with production wise, but what has Spencer brought to this team still? And what have you seen from his progress from maybe last year to this year?
Well, I mean, quite frankly, it might not be very fair to the kid. I mean, you look at I think the standard has been set so high with the quarterback play that they've had for the past, how many ever years it's been, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever that's been, since Baker was there, that the guy's still completing 76% of his passes. He's still a very efficient player. And, I know we all want to score 50 points every time we go out, but he is still, maximizing opportunities. I think he continually is playing better. I thought last week was probably the best game he's played all year. So we've got our work cut out for us because he's a really natural passer. The ball comes out of his hand really nicely. He's a good athlete. He can extend plays, and they also have some design run stuff where he can pull it and keep it. So we've got to be definitely aware of his capabilities. He's more than capable of playing at a high level.
Anwar, you're up.
Hey, Coach. Two quick ones. A housekeeping question. Any injuries or anything that's going to prevent any guys from playing on Saturday? The second one is with a rivalry game, and I know you've been a part of many. How do you balance letting your players enjoy the emotions and everything that's involved with that, but still being disciplined and not riding an emotional roller coaster during a game?
No, we're all good from an injury standpoint. I think the key for us is to play with emotion, but not emotional. And I think, emotion is good for the game of football. It's good to have. But the moment you get emotional, you get out of yourself, you get distracted, whether it's by the crowd, the other team, whatever it may be. And that's when mistakes occur because you don't have the right mental focus to perform at a high level. So yeah, we're going to feel the emotion. We're going to embrace the moment. We're going to enjoy the experience. But the emotional side of it is what we try to garner against.
Cedric, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, we talked to Casey about his mindset going into this biggest start of his career. If you would take us back to the biggest start of your career. Was it your first BYU Utah game, and how did you mentally get ready for that? And how tough was it to keep those emotions level for what you had to do?
I felt like every game was my biggest start. I wasn't very good, so I had to be sharp. I wanted to make sure that I put in the work, that I knew the game plan inside and out, that I knew my opponent, that I knew how to react to the things that they did on a consistent basis, but yet that I also knew how to react to the auxiliary things that they could do based on what our game plan was. And I always just tried to find that same rhythm and that same routine as a player. It really wasn't about how big the game was supposed to be. I wanted to make sure I was in that right level of, preparedness, focus, but yet intentional with my kind of emotion, because there is emotion, and you got to channel it in the right direction. So for Casey, that's really the same. It's about the preparation. It's about the details. It's about knowing the opponent, and then it's about handling what else is going on outside of the field, but staying kind of committed to what you need to do on every snap. And in the end, if you do it right, you give yourself the best chance to have success, and you give yourself the best chance to enjoy something in the end. And so, that those emotional roller coasters sometimes in big games can feel like, the first touchdown is the biggest touchdown of the year. Well, we got another 3.5 quarters to go play. So we can't get too high, or a possible turnover can happen. And that's not the end of the world either. We've got to be able to regroup and stay focused on, entire game for 4 quarters.
Ed, go ahead.
Coach, first of all, good luck on Saturday. And what are the 3 biggest things, the 3 main things that your Longhorns must accomplish to be victorious against Oklahoma Saturday?
All right. Well, thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. I think the first thing is the line of scrimmage, right? Both sides of the ball. Both teams are physical teams. I think the line of scrimmage is going to have a big impact on the game. I think, our ability to limit explosive plays on their end. They're an explosive offense. They have been historically. Can we limit the explosive plays and make them earn it? And conversely, can we create some explosive plays, where we can get yards and chunks? And then the last key to the drill is the ball. We've done a nice job here recently of creating some turnovers. It would be great to come out of here not giving one up on our end. But the ball is going to be critical, and it always is in every game, but it seems even bigger when you get in games like this.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Steve, on Monday, you said that Cameron had kind of asked for Zach Edwards to be his holder. And I'm wondering, do you normally let your kicker choose, or is that a case of Cameron having enough skins on the wall where he can make that decision? And if not, do you prefer a certain position to be the holder?
Okay, let me go back. Well, first of all, we try to have a lot of open dialogue with our players because I don't want to ever feel like I'm trying to jam a square peg into a round hole. And if a player is not comfortable with something that we're doing, it's important for us to know that, so that A, we can either get him comfortable with what we're trying to do, or B, maybe adjust what we're doing. And that's across the board. That's not the kicker or just the quarterback or anybody else. That's in general. I think when you have an experienced player like Cameron at kicker, you really trust their observation. He's been doing it for a while now. He's been doing it at a high level. And when he tells you what he's comfortable with, we really try to listen to that. And that just felt like the natural adjustment for us to go do that. The guy I like to hold is the guy that can catch the ball when it's a perfect snap, the guy that can catch the ball when it's a bad snap and get it down, quite frankly. And if you noticed on the first field goal last week against TCU, that was not a great snap by Mater. It was a high snap, and Zach was able to get the ball down, and Cameron was able to get a pretty good kick up. I know it hit the upright, but that could have been a disaster. So, you just try to have confidence in the guy that's doing it.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Steve, do you expect a lot of man coverage from the Oklahoma defensive backs this week? And do you challenge your wide receivers like, hey, you're going to have to go beat some guys one-on-one in this upcoming matchup?
I'd like to say, sure, we do. But, I don't know. They're going to have a game plan, and how they may view our offense. It might be better for them to want to play zone, or better for them to want to play man, or who knows, so you have to have your plans ready to adjust to everything. I think at the end of the day, the efficiency in our passing game, is going to be one that we're going to have to count on in this game. Clearly, we're going to have plenty of opportunities, but it's not just about the receivers. We got to block. We got to be in the right spots. We got to make the right reads. We got to throw the ball accurately. And then ultimately we're going to have to win on routes, whether that's in zone coverage or man coverage, and then make a play on the ball. So, if it's a man-to-man day, or when those man opportunities are there, it comes down to one-on-one opportunities and making your plays.
Roger Wallace, go ahead.
Yeah, Sark, more on the OU defense. Just what is it that jumps off the tape when you initially watch that makes them as good as they are this year?
The front is very active. They're deep. They've got good players. 2 and 3 levels deep. It's not just about their frontline guys. I think that they do a nice job of playing multiple people. They're active. They penetrate. They create negative plays on early downs, which put opponents in 3rd and long type scenarios, and they're able to get off the field. So I think it's going to be big for us. Like I said, controlling the line of scrimmage is going to be big in this game, and winning on 1st down is going to be big in this game.
Sam Khan, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, the way you guys have used Keelan Robinson as a changeup, I'm curious what kind of impact you feel like that's had on your guys offensively.
It's been great. Keelan's been a really cool addition for us as a team. And, I know we recognize kind of what he's doing offensively, but, quite frankly, what he's doing on special teams as well. He's been a dynamic playmaker, and you don't always have to have the ball in your hand to be a playmaker, especially on special teams. And he's done it, whether it's, blocking punts, making critical blocks in the punt return game, to, covering on kickoffs, to being a really cool changeup for us offensively. I think that, he definitely provides a spark to our team and an energy to our team that has been helpful.
Got time for 2 last ones. Terry, go ahead.
Coach Sarkisian, thank you as always for being with us. Really appreciate it. So I have a question about Bijan. I was thinking about him and making some comparisons. I'm wondering what your thought is. he looks like he cuts like Barry Sanders and explodes off the line like a Ricky Williams and stiff arms like a Derrick Henry. Are these fair comparisons? And what is it like to be Bijan Robinson's coach and the coach of all these other fine men and athletes?
Man, that's kind of like the ultimate back you just described there, Terry. Throw Walter Payton in there, and we got them all. No, I'm just playing with you, but Bijan, I've said all along, I really think he's a complete runner, and in our system, that is ideal because I think he can run really well between the tackles. He has the power, he has the short area quickness and elusiveness, which we've seen numerous times. He has the speed to get to the edge. He has the stiff arm to get defenders off of him that come off from at a side angle and then use the balance and body control to get back to top end speed. I've always said I think he has the one cut ability of a Reggie Bush. You went all the way to Barry Sanders, so I'll take that. But I think he is a complete player. He's got the route running, the ball skills, all those things. But the thing that to me, and I've said this all along, that makes Bijan so unique is the person that he is. He's an unbelievable human being. He's a great teammate. He loves his guys. He loves the linemen. He loves his teammates. And I think they love him. And I think you can see it in the way they play for one another. And that's the part that I love about coaching him and coaching all of our guys is that when you can develop that kind of love on your team and playing for one another and get out of yourself and really play for others and not for yourself, that's when you have something. And I think he's been a real catalyst of that, along with a lot of other guys, that play that way on our team. Roschon Johnson's another great example of that. They're really playing for each other and not for themselves. And that's what makes teams uniquely special. And I think that starts with a couple of those two guys.
Last one, Chip, go ahead.
Steve, my question's on Christian Jones. Can you talk about what he's doing well and any areas where he needs to take the next step?
Yeah, Christian obviously is a big physical guy. I think that, one thing that has helped us for whatever reason, I kind of saw that in the second half of last week's game with Kerstetter coming over there. Derek is such a confident player and he has so much experience. And when that communication happens with those two guys, I felt like, that settled Christian down even more. And Denzel's a heck of a player. He's played a lot too, but there's, Derek Kerstetter's played so much football. You have to trust the guy. When he's making a call, you have to trust him. And I think that would be the area for him moving forward is just to continue to trust his fundamentals, his techniques, his schemes, Coach Flood, Jake Majors, Derek Kerstetter, whatever the call is, whatever the calls are, use the fundamentals, use the techniques, because he's got the skill set to be a really good player.